Continuing on with, are you a sucker, slave, or just foolish? Are you one or the other, all three, or none of the above? Well, if the shoe fit, don't wear it. If the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. But if it fit, it applies to those who identify with what I'm saying. Or if it don't fit, you ain't got to wear it, but maybe you know someone around you that it applies to. So basically, the young ones, they think the world started just now with around them. But if you research the black man's history, just around the time of Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, you'll see that you didn't have pedophile. Well, you had them, but they were very few. Most of them were Caucasians, you know. And you'll find that if you ask the right question and you want knowledge, you'll get it. There are many avenues that knowledge comes to you, from experience, books, television, YouTube. But you always got to double check and make sure that it's correct. They got books in the library that are references to some of the knowledge the kind of knowledge that you want. But they also are written by the devils or by the Caucasian, which he got from us. But he gonna, edit it and put in what he want to go in there. So there are more places on the planet that have books. They got books all over the planet. And they're not so censored as the United States, because they don't want the grassroots to get knowledge above what they got, because they don't want you to rule them, see. And you should know this. Look how they watered down the history. When you go to school, public school, and you got American history, when it comes to the Indian and the slaves, look how they watered it down. They made it seem like it was a picnic, a walk in the park. So you gotta, use your mind. If you got victimized in your family, or on the way to school or whatever, because you wasn't aware, babies don't have much of a chance. So that falls on the mother and the father. They wasn't keeping a tight household. It was loose, dysfunctional. In this case, the white man raised the black man, and when we say black man, we talking about the black woman too. He raised him. Took his name and took his God, his culture, his everything away from him. He was refused permission to practice his own self or to practice his own culture. He couldn't even play his music. He couldn't read or write. So after he took all that away from him, it wasn't nothing to be passed down to the next generation as far as the black man concerned. So the white man could put what he want in their head. So we adopted the mind of a devil. So when Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks focused in, the whole planet focused in, they made the whole planet focus in on the white man and how he act. But the white man cleverly flipped the script. Now he's making it seem like we the wild ones. And he's the civilized one. So he'll go over in their planet with a smiling face, pat them on the back, and stab them in the back at the same time. Because they suckers. You know, they want to believe that this place is a righteous place to come to. But the ones over here, that come over here, got the same mindset of the beast. To feed off the black man. I don't care what they call themselves, Muslims. You know. Because look, if they were living in the Islamic state practicing Islam, wouldn't be no problem. The beast and the devil wouldn't be over there making deals with them. But they're not practicing what they preach. Same with the Christians. If they was practicing what was in the Bible, they wouldn't live over here or have this kind of government. Because look, the Bible tells you not to eat pork, but you permit people to eat pork and you sell it, allow people to sell pork. The Bible says, do unto others as you want to be done unto you. And when it comes to usury, you know, charging interest on some money that you loan, the Bible speaks against this too. So does the Quran. But you got Muslims coming over here charging interest, you know, if they in the automotive business, selling cars, financing cars, they charge interest. And Sharia law is against that. That's why the United States don't want Sharia law. The main reason they don't want Islam to be, the real Islam to be practiced over here, because they're against charging you interest. The Federal Reserve, if this was a righteous country, wouldn't be allowed to operate as they do. This country, the way they had set it up in the beginning, wasn't meant for taxes to be on the people, heavily taxed. It's still in there, still in the book. But you accepted. Half of y'all don't read the Constitution. The white people are suckers too, you know. So a lot of things that happen to you where you live at in the ghetto, so-called ghetto, where you live at, was due to the part that you fell for it. So if Polite whipped you off and Young Pharaoh whipping you off, said he ripping you off, y'all want it to be like that. Y'all want to be the victims. So y'all switch roles. You know, you're not the gods. Because God ain't no sucker. You're not righteous. Even though you go to the church every day or every Sunday, Saturday, whenever, you put money in the basket. Where's that money going to? Is it going to God? It's going to the white man, the devil, to pay light, gas, taxes, gasoline for the preacher. And he know in the Bible it say don't eat pork. But when you go to these churches, they be the first one to eat ribs, eat catfish, shrimps. I just seen Muslims selling shrimps and catfish because they living in the United States of America, where the suckers are, the slaves are, and the very foolish. That's the only way they could survive here. The only way they could become wealthy, because you financing them to go all over the planet, taking other people's property. See, they didn't have to trick them. They doing it with the guns now. They just send their army over there. First of all, they buy out the leaders. And then the leaders sell out the people. You know, the people elect somebody they think is cool, turn out to be that they ain't cool. They working for Uncle Sam or for the Zionist Jews. So think about what I'm saying. This is black light